John Thomas.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Leave it to me. Yeah, 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 leave it to me. Let's go. Leave it to me. Let's go. Leave it to me. 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 Let's go. Leave it to me. Leave it to me. Leave it to me. Leave it to me. Leave it to me.
Station. What is
Jason.
up? Good morning. Good morning. Well, it's not morning here anymore. It's 12 o'clock, but so a lot of places are still morning. So good morning, good evening, good afternoon, all that to everyone out there this holiday season. You know what I mean? It's like we just did a show. Like I feel like we
What?
just did a show. It was just
What
not
was
too
that?
long ago.
Was that yesterday?
It was it yesterday? Yeah, man, we're back. We're back and better than ever, like Mike Greenberg was saying, ESPN. But what is up, everyone? Station. I don't even know if everybody's gonna be, showing up in the chat. It's kind of early, you know what I mean? People probably still drinking their coffee out west, you know what I mean? It's
Probably.
like, man, I gotta listen to this big mouth, you know what I mean? Oh man, I mean, I spoke to the soon, my man.
Whoa,
Our guy,
whoa.
he's back for some more. Station.
Jason's up.
Sleepy. What is
Station,
going
baby.
on? Good morning. A little early, but me and Tom likes to, get stuff done. You know what I mean?
Some
The family
dedication
show. So
right there. Dedication.
Dedication.
Curator.
What?
Hey, you got to represent the PCC.
There you go. There you go. You got the Portland Comic Crew. Represent them. Represent the PCP Army all in one show. Station to everyone. Like I said, we had a wonderful show yesterday where I even put the book away, but I found it over there. We covered this one right here, the Amazing Spider-Man Annual yesterday. Had a lot of fun with it. You know what I mean? It was pretty good. Unfortunately, average a little under the 3 point we gave it. What was the grade? I think it was a 2.69, dude. So, but overall, we still enjoy a lot of the story and stuff like that. And now we're gonna cover the Amazing Spider-Man 925 Legacy 31 current, which is the wedding issue. This is gonna be a boring issue because nothing happens in a wedding like we were talking about yesterday. Nothing, just like wrestling weddings, nothing really happens. As long as you don't talk Spider-Man, I'll stick around. Yes, we're not gonna talk Spider-Man on a Spider-Man show. We'll talk about Batman.
Yeah, or Conan.
What?
We'll talk about bare-chested men with swords. Yes.
But yeah, Amazing Spider-Man. This one takes us up and down roller coaster, like we were talking in the back chats. You know what I mean? There's stuff we liked about it. There's stuff we didn't like about it.
Yeah.
But there's one thing in here that kind of pissed me off, the way they did it. Just like, really, we're not gonna even get it just we'll talk about it when we get through it. A lot of people who read this know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Sleep is like Conan, yes. But Conan is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I had a lot of fun doing that show with Conan with Sleepy, but no Conan today. I'm sorry, Damien. No Conan. We are talking Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man right here. Of course, we're just doing the book today. Unfortunately, no show and tell. We did that yesterday. You know what I mean? And we had a nice, fun show and tell. Anybody who missed it, check out yesterday's show on the rewind. If you don't want to see the review and just want to see the show and tell, you can just fast forward to it. But of course, if you like the video, hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Ding, ding, ding that bell for notification for future videos, so you can get us more videos, wonderful videos like us, being silly, showing off, and all that, or showing off our goodies and everything. You know what I mean? And Tom having his Christmas tree year round, even though finally it's Christmas time, so he can have it now. You know what I mean? But without further ado, I think we'll get to what we came here for, and it's the Amazing Spider-Man. And I have the technology now because off the phone I couldn't figure out how to do this part. And I was just like, darn it. But keep on keeping on. So Amazing Spider-Man number 31. In the front it says, and you're saying we're safe? He's like, perfectly safe. Yeah, nothing bad happens in weddings. In comic book weddings or wrestling weddings. Nothing bad happens. Come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah,
What having?
he's only a gangster. Yeah. Only Tombstone. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, the biggest crime lord, one of the biggest crime lords in the city. But, So we got the prelude. Your presence is requested. So I'm pretty excited. A nice little calm wedding, you know what I mean? So at Arthur's Avenue, the Bronx. So nothing bad happens in the Bronx, you know what I mean? Ask my man Phable, he'll tell you nothing bad happens in the Bronx. But there's some so-called of a big meeting happening with the crime bosses. And you see Bunny, going in there, someone comes in, it's clear, we won't be long. And he's like, yes, sir. And then, of course, Bunny's like, yeah, man, the meeting's in there. You know what I'm saying? The meeting's in there. And then Tombstone's like, yeah, how they taking it? And she's like, bad to really bad, I say. And he's like, good deal. Yeah. And then, of course, they get mad because they say you're late. And then, of course, it's all the crime bosses in the city. You know what I mean? Including Crime Master and stuff like that. Hammerhead at the end there.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, they're not liking what's going on. We've seen all these characters throughout the Spider-Man run and stuff like that. And before the run, you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? But so they basically, he's telling them, Tombstone's telling them, yo, I want all you guys in my wedding. They're like, Hammerhead's like, we needed to have a meeting about this. Why can't we do it in the phone? Like, why did we have to meet up like this? And then of course, Tombstone's like, yes, I understand. But you see, this was very important to me. Well, I mean, I'm gonna twist the words around, but you guys know.
Yeah, he's like, why can't we do a Zoom call?
Yeah. It's better. Yeah, exactly. No. And he's like, basically, he's like, the reason why I called you here because I want everybody in the wedding, and they're all arguing. All of them are saying, why should we go to your wedding? It's like we're all there. And he's like, and then of course the Kingpin is back, and he's mad at you for taking down the Rose, because we all know you took down the Rose.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you know what? The reason why I want all you guys there is because I don't trust you. I don't trust either of you to try anything at my son's wedding. I want my son's wedding to be perfect. So they're like, all right, but what makes you think we're gonna go? And he's like, because if you don't go, I would know if something happens, it was you. You know what I mean? I would know you have some gripe against me because I know you guys did me wrong. Someone in here did me wrong before. I don't know who it is. I'm going to find out. But till I do, I want everybody there. And if you guys know what's right for you, you will show off. I mean, not show off, show up. and then like, but the Kingpin wants you and all that. He's like, first of all, the Kingpin has always respected me. I'll cross that bridge when the time comes. But for now, you guys are going to the wedding or else. You know what I mean? So Tombstone, because they say he got kind of soft. Oh, you got kind of soft. He's like, you guys know I got soft, huh? I'll show you how soft I got if you don't go to this wedding. So it's pretty much, that's what they say, the whole thing. It was pretty cool conversation between him and the mob bosses. And then,
rest is soft. Tombstone pizza. Oh, Oh, wrong thing.
Wrong thing, man. Yeah. Now you're making me hungry. But you see all of them not digging this whole thing, not agreeing with him.
No.
And as he leaves the room, they all start talking to Hammerhead, and they're like, you know, they're like, King Kane's not gonna be happy for him taking down the Rose, and and Tombstone's like, it doesn't matter what, because Crime Master said he saw what he saw. He saw Tombstone taken down, so like, Crime Master's like, I saw what I saw, and Hammerhead pretty much said it doesn't matter what Crime Master saw, and if it doesn't matter that what the owl thinks, it only matters what the Kingpin believes. And then he's like, if he believes Lonnie has something to do with his son getting out, we might want to get ahead of it. And then, of course, they want a unanimous vote and all that. And then he's like, then I'll let you explain that to Fist if you guys don't want to vote for it. You know what I mean? And he's like, see you all at the wedding. He's like, bam, bam, bam. So they're looking like maybe they're planning something. Like something shady. These are crime bosses right here. They can't trust each other. Like, you know what I mean? They try to. So we go to the main
event.
So Zeb Wells is the writer, along with John Romita Jr., Scott Hanna, and Marcelo Menz is the cover artist. Sorry, I read the wrong thing. The artist is John Romita Jr., Emilio Laiso with Zel Carlos. And then, of course, there's a lot of, like, most likely you have, like, those three as the main art. So whoever took over after Jr. did. Scott Hanna as the inker and all that. So you guys know. So chapter 1, the last night. So you have, like, these ladies are like, hey, they took our table. What the heck, man? We're here. We got it first, yo. You know what I mean? And then, like, whoever it is, you better kick him out or I'll kick him out. I ain't playing. And then out of nowhere, you see an octopus arm. You know what I mean? Like, and bam, the Syndicate. You know what I mean? The female version of the Sinister Six out to party with Janice Lincoln is getting married. So they're yelling all that. They're all excited that, they're getting married and stuff. She's getting married. Well, they decided to party. I don't think they're excited about the wedding.
I'll be right back.
Stuff like that. Go ahead. So, you have, of course, you got someone in there that's not happy that this is going on. She's like their business partner or something like that. And meanwhile, we go to the bachelor party, and there's nobody there. There's only Peter and Rob. So, and Peter's like, yeah. So how you doing? You know what I mean? And he's like, yo, where is everybody? He's like, oh, you know what I mean? And of course, Peter, orders water instead of drinks. You know what I mean? So they're having a great bachelor party. Back to the Bachelor and the Syndicate were having a lot of fun, and they invite the Black Cat. You know what I mean? And she's excited because Janice is the one, because they're all like, who invited the Black Cat? I mean, why? Why would he invite? Ain't she hanging out with Spider-Man? He's a superhero. She became a hero. She's not a villain anymore, because these girls are still villains and stuff like that. And she's like, I did. And she's like all happy she invited the Black Cat. You know what I mean? And then one of them says, I will tolerate it because this is Janice Knight, but I'm not dancing with that stuck up. So they pretty much said that they're not dancing with her. Like, no way. They're going to hang out with her and dance with her and do everything they want to do. And then the next page, that's what they're doing. They're dancing with her, having fun, because the Black Cat is a fun cat. You know what I mean? But there's one that's not dancing. That's the bunny, of course, and the business lawyer. Sorry. So her name is Michelle, and she's like, lawyer. Oh, she's like, I can't stand lawyers, man. They're nerds. And she's like, lawyering is good, and school is good, and then they don't like each other. And then you have, of course, what's his face? Kareem in the back is like, why do I have to be here? And she's like, you have to be here. You're one of the girls. I don't know if that's a good thing. Like, you know what I mean? I really don't know if that's a good thing. But keep on keeping on back to the glorious bachelor party. It's still only Robbie and what's his name? Peter. I already forgot his name. And then, he's like, did Joey come? No. Peter goes, no. Cody? No. Josh? No. They all couldn't make it. And then at one point, Peter orders more water. So they're not having fun, guys. And out of nowhere, as the bachelor party is still boring, there's nothing to see here. The bachelorette party is still kicking. You know what I mean? And of course, they're getting drunk and all that. And then they're not even in their costumes. And now they want to put their costumes on. They're like, costumes! They're all drunk. Costumes, yeah. And of course, like, Kareem is in the corner like, yo, can I go with you? Because Michelle's over it. She's gone. She's like, I'm out. You know what I mean? So things are going off the rails in the bachelorette party.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, back at the bachelor party, they leave the place, and then there's some guys having fun, and Peter's like, yo, want to go hang out with them? And he's like, of course, it says Kyrie's getting married, so someone else is getting married.
And
so
they're all like, we're going to a ballet.
Yeah. And Peter's like, you want to go with them? And he's like, ew, no, gross. Oh, man. Anyway, he's like, you know what, Peter? Because Peter Parker's like, yeah, man, I invited all these people, but I kind of did it kind of late and not in time. He's like, you always disappoint. I always gave you a chance. And I always defended you, but you're always late for everything. And how do you call people late and stuff like that? Nobody came to this bachelor party. That's pretty much Peter feeling bad and stuff. And he's like, all I asked for for you to do something for me, and that was too much. I guess I asked for too much. And he walks away, and then the bachelor party for the guys is over. And then of course we go back, and the bachelorette party, they put the costumes on. And then they're electrocuting, Electra is electrocuting her partners and all that. And then, of course, this is the part where it gets a little bit, serious. You got Janice and the Black Cat talking. And Black Cat's like, should we worry about them? And we like, she's Janice like, I don't know. Rabbit, should we worry about them? And the Rabbit goes, nah, it's all good. I've dealt with worse. With the Hydra shipment from my boss's rival and stuff like that. We good.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh yeah, they're good. And they start laughing and stuff like that. And this is where it gets real. So the Black Cat's like, I'm not joining the syndicate. By the way, I work alone. She's like, oh, I figured Bummer would have really got Spider-Man's goat. So they would have pissed Spider-Man off if she would have joined them.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, there it is. She's like, I got one of those too. Do you make it work, or all those stuff you get up to? Just now she's talking about the relationship and stuff like that. And she's like, nah, it's not like you're the best. Had to take the shot. And now I can say Black Cat was at my bachelorette. Oh, so that's what I thought she was already saying it. Sorry, guys, but she's pretty much telling the Black Cat, it's all good. You don't have to join our group.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool that she can say like the Black Cat was at my bachelorette party.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're really getting married tomorrow. She's like, yep, Randy Robinson, good guy. I keep calling him Robbie. He's Randy. Robbie's his father.
Yeah.
And she's like, how? Well, I'm sure we fight about a lot, but there's something comfortable about it. How he won't stop trying to make me quit. Like, I know he cares. He's in it. And he's like, I'd actually be a little worried if he stopped. Which I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
Uh-huh.
And Black Cat's like, but you know what I'm talking about. And she goes over and looks at her kind of like, And then over back to the fellas. and Peter's alone at a park bench. You know what I mean? A theme park bench, and my man comes up. He's like, "We need to talk." And he's like, and, he pretty much tells Peter that he talked to all his friends, and they all didn't want to come. You know what I mean? They're all afraid because he's marrying a supervillain, and then he's mad at them, and Peter's like, "Listen, I understand where they're coming from. You know what I mean? It's dangerous. It's, and in their own way, they're looking out for you. You know." And he's like, fine. Then none of them even took time to get to know her. People hear the word supervillain and they freak out, and that's why that's why Peter told him that. And then he's like, and we're just going to let them think it was all your fault. You just gonna tell him it's all your fault, Peter? You know what I mean? And Peter's like, yeah, why not? You know what I mean? And he's like, you know what? I was wrong. You've always been a good friend, and when the chips are down, when things are more important, you always come through. Yeah, the little things are annoying, but you always come through. So he's like, you're my best friend. And Peter's like, so he's like, so what? It's right there. No, and he's like, no, I was not. Final answer. The merry-go-round.
You're my
Peter wants
best
to go.
friend.
So they want to go to the merry-go-round, and he's like, hell nah. But in the next page, he says he convinced them to do it. And then here we go. So he walks up, and as he's going to his house, his crib, the black cat is there. She's not looking very cool. You know what I mean? She's like, hi, Peter. She's like, Felicia. Hi, Peter. She's like, come here. You know I love you, right? He's like, uh-oh. Yeah. Look, I know I haven't been bearer of laughs lately, Peter says. And she's like, you haven't asked me to stop stealing, not once. He's like, what? She's like, I realized that tonight, and then I realized I haven't tried to corrupt you, not even a little bit, like back in the day. And that made me think, what are we doing here? Going through the motions, Peter says. And she's like, going through the motions. And then she's like, things got dark for you, and I think I was a bit of a light. That was fun for a while. I like lighting you up, but I want a relationship, not a project. I'm like, what? And he's like, have you been stealing? Because you better stop. And she's like, nice try, Parker. And then she's like, you take care of yourself, Spider. You need me. I'm going here. He's like, ditto, cat. So he just took it like nothing. Like, oh, okay, we're breaking up. I thought we were in love, but yeah, we just breaking up. He's like, well, Parker, thank you. You got all the bad luck out of the way. She'll be nice and boring from here on out. So he pretty much doesn't have her. Like, now he has a more boring life. That was the fun part of his life. You know what I mean? Black cat. You guys know. You know what I mean? So this is what kind of pissed us off a little bit, because it's like, what? We'll discuss that in a minute. That was just. I need to sit, man. That's just what.
I think we might be needing some therapy after that.
What?
He would?
What?
Oh,
anyway, keep on keeping on. The next scene, which was even better, and he's like, and he's going up, the Bachelor. It's going up. A couple of grown men riding a damn carousel. You know what I mean? And he's like, huh? And a voice goes, playtime's over, Robertson. You're mine. And he's got the beetle. He's like, ah! Scared the crap out of him. You know what I mean?
Man, that's getting seriously a little kink going on there, a little disturbing.
Yeah. And Janice is like, are you trying to kill me? No, he's yelling to Janice, are you trying to kill me? He's like, if I was, you'd already be dead. Now give Mama a kiss. And he's like, haha, don't say it like that. Oh, man. It's like, wait, this is bad luck the night before the wedding, right? Maybe you're a bad influence. And she's like, Robbie Robinson, I promise you most safe buttons up. Dare I say, normal weddings there ever been. My dad has guaranteed it. Tomorrow we are just two law-abiding citizens surrounded by our loved ones. But tomorrow, but that's tomorrow. Tonight we're gonna be bad. He's like, oh wow. So she drags him into the room. You know what I mean? And they're just gonna play cards, guys. They're not gonna do anything, naughty or nothing. Like, come on, guys.
Come on.
Take your mind out of the gutter, guys. Come on.
Come on now.
Come on now.
This is Marvel, not Come on.
My man Eric's like, wait a minute, Parker has some relationship issues? No way. Let me guess, he's still struggling to balance his personal life and fighting crime. Which, yeah, we'll talk about that whole situation in a minute, because I don't even know if fighting crime has anything to do with that. You know what I mean? Oh my God, it's a new low. It's a new low. I'm telling you. But
we're like fighting harm.
So this is chapter 2, the big day. Chapter 2, the big day. So guys, this is boring the rest of the way, because guys, you already know nothing ever happens in a wedding. Never, nothing. Nothing bad happens in a comic book wedding. Come on, guys. So the next one is Marcus Garvin Park, the wedding day, and of course Peter is dragging like she doesn't want to go. Peter is walking at me, that, being sweet, that, and she's like, "Man, you're an awesome usher," and he's like, always like sweet to her. Like, I'm lucky to even like be able to walk a beautiful woman like you. You know what I'm saying? So, and she's like, "Oh, Peter," you know what I mean? And out of nowhere, Betty like, best man, best man, huh? With the baby there. And he's like, "People have spoken, Betty." So he's like, "Yeah, I'm the best man, dude." And out of nowhere, Hammerhead comes in. You know what I mean? I forgot her name, whoever that is. and he, he's Spider-Man. He's Peter Parker now. He's not supposed to know. So he's like, "Mister," and he's like, "You don't need to know." And in his mind, he's like, Hammerhead. And then he gives him, for being the usher, he gives him $100 to pay for his tuxedo rental. You know what I mean? He's like, "I can't take that." He's like, "You better take that." He's like Godfather. "My money not good enough for you, huh? Huh? My money not good enough for you? You take my money." You know what I mean?
Say hello, my little friend.
Yeah. Oh man. And then and he's like, "Oh man, if he's here, I hope nobody else comes." And then the rest of the crew is there. He's like, "Oh my God, Randy, what did you get yourself into?" And then of course, he's getting ready for the wedding. Yeah, I'm getting ready for a wedding. My baby, I'm marrying my baby girl. Which, we consummated the wedding last night. We cheated, And the father comes out of nowhere, Randy. "What are you doing? You know what I mean? I hope you're ready." You know what I mean? He's telling him, "I had to convince your mom that she's retired villain." Is she retired villain? And he's like, "Dad," he's like, I'm a little nervous. You taking this too calmly." He's like, "I trust my son." You know what I mean? So it's all good. It's all good in the hood. I trust you do the right thing and all that. You love this woman. You can do your thing. You know what I mean? So back where the wedding is, Michelle meets Peter Parker, and she's like, is everybody all right? What happened to all the other, the syndicate girls?" And she's like, "Oh, they got themselves in trouble. The FBI's talking to them, and they ran away from it." So they pretty much did something wrong and ended up running away because they're probably going to be arrested. So they didn't make the wedding. So, oh, bad girls, right? And then he's like, "How was your day?" Because she's holding him and all that. They're like, "Oh, that was a nice conversation." Peter's trying to move on from the black cat. Maybe talk to this Michelle girl. But he ends up going, "Yeah, I broke up. Yeah, I broke up with my lady yesterday," and stuff like that. He made it kind of weird. And then all of a sudden, the spider sense is tingling. But guys, nothing bad's gonna happen, right? And then the bachelor comes out of nowhere, and then of course the priest is there, and then he's like, "All rise, here comes the judge." No, not that one, not that one. Bam, bam, ba-dum, bam, bam, ba-dum. Here goes Tombstone with the beautiful bride, you know. And then, you know, Janice goes, oh my God, I'm making a mistake. And he goes, let me know, I'll swing it. So, Dad, you're supposed to be convincing me, you know. And he's like, yeah, weddings are always bad, but you got to go through with it. You know what I mean? It is what it is, man. And and then as he hands over to the groom, he's like, you know what I mean? She's your problem now. She's like, Dad. He's like, and he's like, thank you. Today was just two kids in love, Peter says. But his spider senses start going super crazy.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, what's gonna happen now? I don't know what that means, but this dude in a bike, a Blade-looking reject.
That's what I thought that was at first. I'm like, is that Blade?
Is that Blade? This Blade-looking reject comes out of nowhere, and Randy's like, "Who's that?" And then, of course, Janice already knows something's up. She's like, "Run, run, and run, May! Get your asses out of here!" You know what I'm saying? And so Peter's like making sure Aunt May and everybody, Betty and all them, run for the border. You know what I mean? And the crime master's like, "What the heck is going on? We didn't do this." And then, like, Tombstone is pissed. He's like, "You ready to die? Because it's on like Donkey Kong." And he's like, "You got the wrong day." And, of course, my man shoots him. And Tombstone's like, "I'm bulletproof, dum-dum." But out of nowhere, he got hosed. He started bleeding. And he falls down. And he's like, no one who knew that bleep, they're not going to put a curse word in there. No one knew what they were effing talking about. And then of course the groom's like, "Who is that?" And she's like, "He's shooting Randy. Keep moving. Janet's father is bleeding," May says. "Oh my goodness." You know what I mean? "Where's Peter?" she says. "Where is Peter?" So this dude, you're surprised? That's okay. You had leverage in every boss in the city, but no one sees every angle. He's like, "What's your name, tough guy?" He says, I give you one guess. "Hello from the new boss." And he puts the gun in his head and he's like, oh, there's a new boss. Oh no. But Spider-Man to the rescue, like we all knew. Come on, Spider-Man's not gonna let nobody get shot, even you know, future, you know, jailbird or whatever, you know what I mean? "Guess that makes me the HR." And he kicks him. And Spider-Man's like, "We had some complaints about your management style. I'm gonna come out and say it. They concern the shotgun. They're concerned about the shotgun." He's like, "I'm afraid we have to let you go." And Peter's like, "I'm happy with the Syrians package. I can't freaking read right now." And he's like, "Shut up." And he's like, you started the boss thing. You started it. You know what I mean? And of course, we go over to the crime person, and you know he's like, she's like, "Was this your move, Hammerhead? You're losing everything? If it is, you're losing everything." And he's like, "Worry about getting out of here alive, Mescu." And then, "This wasn't my move." And that's the vehicle runs away. He clicks a button, and it goes. He's like, "This was kablooey."
Oh man!
So he kills that girl,
Yep.
that crime boss, and lovely lady, elegant lady is like, "Wow." And he's like, "Told you I'll show you a good time." Hammerhead says, and then back to the fight. He's like, "You don't want to dance with me, boy." And Peter's in the mind. He's going, "Straight bullets. Gotta end this quick. No time to be funny. Tree branch or make sense." And then boom, he grabs a tree branch. Boom, knocks it right in his head. And then of course he's like, "Hi, no silver." You know what I mean? So he's like getting his bell rang, and then I don't know, he goes, "Behind me." Oh, you know what I mean? Because he goes, Hi-ho, Silver. I'm sorry. Hi-ho, Silver. Away. You know what I mean? And the motorcycle comes out of nowhere. It's like it having mind of its own. And he's like, Mark is down. I'm gone. So I guess his name is Mark. He said, can't catch him on foot. Nothing to web on, except he gets himself on a tree. He's like, only gonna get this shot at once. And then he tries to the backwards thing. It's like an homage, I think, to one of the Amazing Spider-Man 1, when he does that to get on the plane. All the way back to the original Amazing Spider-Man. And he's like, make this count. And he slingshots his way up in the air. But it's too late. He went away. And he's gone. He's gone. And then back at the commotion, Randy's like taking his parents away. And he's like, what about Janice? And he's like, Janice has other things to worry about. So Janice is, she's worried about everything that happened with the dad and all. Which, if you know about weddings, by the time you get to the wedding part, you're pretty much already married. You know what I mean? You don't really need the whole thing. It's just for movies and show, I guess. You know what I mean? Because you have to go get your wedding license and everything. But it is what it is. That happens. And Aunt's like, I couldn't find you, Peter. I was so scared. And he looks at her and thinking in his head, how could I be so stupid? I convinced myself Randy could join the Lincoln's world. It could be safe for him. But it won't. That mistake. I won't do that mistake again because I have a feeling something started today that is far from finished. Dun dun dun. And then we got the little spider there, which obviously they're talking about the gang war, the whole storyline, which I think last week the first issue of it came out, or next week it comes out. I have to go to the shop and get it because I'm not gonna get all the tie-ins, but I will get like the main story that connects with the book, obviously. You know what I mean? So that's the end of the main story, which was a lot of pages, almost 40, I think. We'll talk about all the side stories because, guys, literally was most of the book. Ooh, I'm exhausted. So I'm gonna get myself out of here. Boom. So yeah, man. Real quick, your thoughts, Mr. Tom, about everything that happened.
Well, I don't know. Everything leading up to it was kind of, well, I kind of have to agree with Nick Lowe, the editor, what he said in one of the, during a letter to the editor. He said, I find weddings boring. And I think kind of everything leading up to it was kind of boring. It was kind of funny when the chicks were like, costumes, and all like, the one chick, Shocker, was electrifying everybody, and all the gangsters. The gangster meeting was kind of interesting, and but then when the action finally picked up and that Blade wannabe, came roaring through, and Spidey was doing his classic, little witty sayings and stuff. That was pretty fun. But it should be interesting to see what happens to Tombstone.
Oh yeah.
Whether or not it ends up with a tombstone or
Tombstone right through a table. The Undertaker's gonna pop up out of nowhere. All right. We'll do the rating on this story in a minute, but listen, I like the Bachelorette thing with the syndicate. That was fun. Some of it was fun. I love the whole the male bachelors, the whole it being boring and stuff like that. That's pretty much Parker's luck, you know what I mean? Understanding that none of his friends, Randy's friends, wanted to be there because they knew it was gonna be what it turned out to be. They're just afraid to get anywhere near the villains. You know what I mean? But overall, the story was pretty good. Obviously, the wedding, something did go wrong in the wedding. big surprise. I was shocked. I was shocked. Like I thought nothing was gonna go wrong. You know what I mean? And it did. So yeah, it's a classic. Why do they do stuff like in wrestling? It's like why do they always do it? Because it's very entertaining. It's very entertaining. I love I like Randy and Janice's relationship. You know what I mean? The whole thing. She's still a Vinny. He's trying to convince her, but they still in love. But what I didn't like, what we both didn't like, is the breakup. Like, so she has a. So wait. Felicia has a conversation with Janice, and because he didn't ask her not to rob things and do bad things and stuff like that, or vice versa, or try to convince each other him to be a criminal or whatever. That's the reason why you break up. You know what I mean? Like, and out of nowhere, and they took it like, they weren't heartbroken. Well, it's all right. That was fun. It's a nice big fling, and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, what? That's it? You know what I mean? Because the whole thing with them getting together, they thought they had feeling. There was actually a little bit of build-up for that relationship to come together, and then the breakup, there was no build-up. There was no. It was just like, oh yeah, we didn't like it. You know, it was good. It was fun while it lasted. Have a good. We can still be best friends. You know what I mean? You know, with benefits. You know what I mean? And then we good. You know what I mean? Like, the silence. You guys see the silence. You guys see the silence. That's what it's like. So we can't have him with MJ. Now we can't have him with the Black Cat. You know what I mean? It's just. I guess he can't have a relationship. He has to be bouncing through relationship because things are not interesting when he's in a relationship, which is not true. You know what I'm saying? It's just, probably why people get pissed off. Like he can't grow. They can't allow him to grow. It's just like the same thing over and over again. And they break up for a stupid reason. There wasn't even because she had a conversation with someone who's getting married. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I want a relationship, you know. Basically saying I want someone who want to rob shit with me, you know what I mean? And he's like, he just went with the flow. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're breaking up with me. It's okay. You know what I mean? I'm not mad. You know, I can't be a criminal, so I can't be with you. You know what I mean? That's what I thought. I mean, I guess you were thinking the same thing about the relationship part, Tom?
Yeah, that rubbed me the wrong way. That was, yeah. I was like, what the heck? I'm like, poor Parker. I'm like, come on, give him a break.
It's just like he can't get no breaks. It's just down, down, down. If he gets one little good and then there's a down right next to it, you know what I mean? It's just like, come on, man. Keep doing this to our character. You know what I mean? It's like, like, man. But that way, you know what I mean? They couldn't be like, yo, she got interested in somebody else. They were drifting apart, you know, differences. There was none of that. It was a conversation, and then boom, it's over. It's kind of like what Dan Slott did with Peter and Mockingbird when they were dating. Just out of nowhere, she didn't dig him no more. It's over. You know what I mean? Oh, man. Nick's like, don't worry. Ultimate Spider-Man comes out in about a month. Parker Family is back. You know what? It's funny you say that because it's almost like Jonathan Hickman, almost like he's taking a jab in Spider-Man editorial, and he's going to, like, show how he can have a relationship and stuff like kind of thing, even though they did have Renew Your Vows, which was successful. So editorial took over that, and Jerry Conway decided he didn't want to do the book no more, and the book went down. He was doing a great job with that book, but I'm looking forward to that Ultimate with Hickman and stuff because that's gonna be really freaking fun. But keep on keeping on. Mostly the story was pretty decent though. It was like, you know, it's a wedding. You know what I mean? And then the wedding goes bad because it's a crime boss. The daughter of a crime boss. Come on now. You know something's always gonna go with the daughter of a crime boss. And Randy can't help himself. But I wonder if because of the interruption they're not gonna be married no more. But like I told you, like in real life, they're already married. But since that was broken, will they reunite or will that be over? You have the whole gang war thing happening with the storylines. Like I said, I don't know if it came on last week or It's coming out this week, coming up. But we're gonna get that whole gang war. We're gonna get answers there, and stuff is gonna hit the fan. We're gonna see who the new boss is and everything. But Tom, if you're gonna give this just this story like we did yesterday, we got. I feel like this is a little different, but give the story its own number, and then we'll give the rest of the story as a whole, all the other stories ahead of it, its number. What you think about the story? How many backlogs you give it?
Yeah, it was pretty fun, you know, like you said, you know, a gangster wedding, you know, what do you expect? There's gonna be a rumble, and you know, somebody's gonna take a hit, and somebody's gonna get wiped out like the Mask did, and you know, Tombstone got riddled with bullets, but yeah, I'd say I'd give it maybe a 3.0.
Yes, that's pretty good. We always usually go close to everything that's happening because we did enjoy some of it. You know what I mean? And we try to rate it through what we enjoyed. It was a fun read, except for that one breakup part. You know what I mean? So I'll give it a 3.0 too. I'll be a little nice because I like the whole syndicate, the bachelorette party and all that, and all having fun. And it was pretty cool to read stuff like that. But if it wasn't for that, it would get a less grade. So 3.0 for this story. I wish I could say the same for the rest of the story. This next story I'm doing, I think it's the best story out of the rest. Because the rest was like scratching my head. So I'm gonna cover the next story, and then my man Tom's gonna cover the rest of the book. There's like 4 or 5 short stories up in there. Real quick, Nick's like reading Spider-Man is like being a Bills fan. A few ups, but mostly heartbreaking. That oh man, that is so true. That is so true. That is so true, because being a Jet fan is the same way. Oh shit. Well, there was more ups for the Bills than the Jets, but yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. You do have a few ups in here, and that. Oh my God. Eric's like, I can't wait for Secret Wars 17. Doom Gods return when they merge with the new Ultimate U with the 616 again. Yo, I read that Ultimate series. I had to reread it because there's a lot of things I didn't understand, or maybe it's just me, or maybe people like feel the way I felt. I gotta read it again. How have you guys been liking the art? Oh, glad you said that. It's a JR art. Like
Yeah.
again, like I think on some of them was joined by a couple of the other artists, because but mostly it's JR art, and we enjoy the JR art. You know what I mean, right? So I think it's
Yeah.
it was too well done. If you enjoy JR art, you'll like it. But I know people who don't really dig the JR art. I think he's in the chat right now. He'll probably say who he is. But but man, the art was pretty good. It's readable. You know what I mean? Like outside of with the art, so I enjoy the art pretty much. And without further ado, let's continue on with the story. My man, Station brother, Inferno in the house. Me, he's talking about me. Well, I wasn't gonna say nothing, but yes, my man Nick does not like the art. Big Herm, big Herm, big word. Yeah, what's going on? I know you guys talk about Spider-Man, but I had to pop in and say hello. What's up, your Station?
Station.
Oh yeah, Station. Thanks for joining. As we go through the rest of the book. So the main story, we gave it a 3.0. The rest of the book might make the book entirely lower. You know what I mean? But this is the best story out of the rest of the story. So I'm gonna go drink one more sip and let's go. So this whole thing is somehow, guys, I know you're gonna be surprised, because we did cover the Spider-Man book that had the death of Kamala Khan. Miss Marvel's dead, guys. Dead. But no, she came back to life in the Hellfire Gala. I was surprised, guys. Come on, I was very surprised. And then, of course, they're talking right here. So this is the whole conversation between both of them. You know what I mean? And, you know, there's a lot of words there, so I'm just going to say exactly what they were saying. She pretty much was saying, so I was stabbed because she doesn't remember, because you guys know, like, when you get resurrected in Krakoa, the mutants, I say, because she went from New Mutant, but she had the genes of what was the other one? I already forgot, but Inhuman. She was an Inhuman, but she had the genes of the mutant or whatever. They was able to resurrect her. Blah blah blah. Wait, she's back? Spoilers? Wait, she's dead?
Spoilers.
Oh man, Brandon needs to contract Herm for the voice. Oh, you funny. Yeah. So. So she came back. I can't stop laughing. So now, like, she came back as a mutant and all that. She's an X-Men now. And so they're going through the whole conversation of what happened because she doesn't remember anything. So he's going through telling her, you know, you were very heroic and all that, and you were used as a decoy and everything. And I'm proud of you, kind of thing. You know what I mean? And I like that they did this because I kind of wanted the interaction between both of them after everything that happened. There's probably some people that didn't care for it, but I did. For people like me. So and Kamala Khan, I freaking love her character. So I freaking love that they did this. And then he's like, yeah, Kamala, you did great. Raven thought if he would have went through what he went through, he would have ended the world. So you kind of saved us all. You saved our life and stuff like that. And she's like, I can't believe it, you know? And he's like, you have to believe I never in a million years would have asked for you to give up your life. And I'm so sorry that happened. And she's like, no, but the shape-shifting, I haven't done that in so long. I wasn't sure I could do it anymore. It would have been really hard. This must have been important. And she's saying, like, her shape-shifting, she had a hard time with it. And because it was so important, she was able to do it. And this is where he goes, you saved the world, Kamala. You know what I mean? And then she starts thinking. She's all happy. You know, kind of like ComicManAndy gets in the movies. You know what I mean? And he's like, she's like, well, Spider-Man, thank you for filling me in everything that happened. He's like, Gap is in Krakoa. Of course, and she goes, now I got to get back to the I had to do that because it says X-Men there. To the X-Men. She kind of emphasized, I gotta get back to the X-Men. So she kind of excited she's an X-Men. And he's like, you don't have to say it like that every time, Kamala. You know what I mean? And she's like, Kamala Khan saved the world again. Hot dog. So she's all happy, like a fan, you know what I mean? Because that's how Kamala is. And then he goes, Kamala, and then she goes, And he goes, can't believe I'm doing this. And she's like, what are you doing? Why are you acting weird? And he's like, I usually save this for kids with incurable diseases because of that issue with the kid, you know, that was, that was in hospice and all that. And he's like, she's like, oh my God, is this happening? No way. So he looks like he's going to reveal his secret identity to Kamala Khan because he knows who she is. You know what I mean? Why not? And she's like, Peter Parker? She's like, bro, I worked with you. I mean, you're a nerd. He's like, yeah, I'm still a nerd. He's like, you are a nerd. I work with you and everything. And he's like, oh, you were spying on Osborn too. And he's like, oh, kind of, yeah. And she just can't help herself. She's like, oh my God, Spider-Man is a nerd. And he's like, don't you have to catch a ride? Because she had to catch a ride. You know, she was going to leave. He's like, I worked at Ascot with Spider-Man. So she's like all fanboying on him. And he's like, you were there for the same reason I was. He's like, oh, yes, I was. Yes, yes. You ever need help with that? Look at me up. Remember, I'm a member of the the X-Men. And he's like looking at her like, I will, thanks. And she's like, you be good, Spider-Man. And he's like, you too, Miss Marvel. And he's like, the X-Men hot dog? And then, of course, Zeb Wells and David Lopez drew it, which I thought this story, if I add it to the main story, would give it a 0.5. It would be a 3.5. You know what I mean? But again, the next stories will probably bring it more down. And that's the end of that kind of story, which I thought was cute. I thought she had to have got to have the interaction with Peter Parker. He gave her his secret identity, you know what I mean, which kind of goes against everything he did with the whole curse thing and the brand new day, you know, and all that stuff that we discussed in the past. I thought it was a good. What do you think about the story?
I liked it. It was a nice to have that that follow up to what happened after she died and was resurrected, and kind of them having that little conversation and her finding out who he is, and then kind of now their friendship or whatever it is that they've developed is getting stronger, and yeah,
I like it. I wanted to see her more in the book. I mean, the purpose of that is she didn't have a book at the time, and they put her in the book, and so people are like, oh, they put her there for no reason. But I like her being in the book, so I'm hoping for more team ups with them too. You know what I mean? 'Cause I love Kamala Khan and the whole thing. Friends, I love the whole thing, so I'm pretty much happy with it. So another awesome little story here that usually you don't get a lot of awesome stories. I thought that was cool that they added that to it. But keep on keeping on. The next one is a Dan Slott, Mark Bagley story, which wasn't terrible, but I'll let my man here tell you how it went.
All right, so it opens up in a bar with no name, unlike Cheers, where it has a name. Where everybody knows your name. Anyway,
dum 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 dum.
It kind of opens up with three little minor no-name villains about this famous, notorious Spidey villain. And they're like, one guy's saying, I just pulled off the crime of the century. And the other guy's like, dude, Ringer, are you? And he's like, Ringer, are you shushing me? And the other guy's like, not now, Norton. And they're like, the Ringer guy's like, keep it down. We got royalty here, man. We got an A-lister. And they're like, if big name villains start showing up to this no-name bar, this no-name bar is going to get a name and it's going to take off. It's going to be the spot for all the villains, even us little B villains, And then the one guy that was trying to tell the other guys, about this big crime he pulled off. He was like, an A-lister. Who is it? He's like, is it Loki? The Red
Loki.
Dr. Doom? He's like, who? And the other guy's like, none other than, and then Dr. Octopus. And he has Doc Ock there. He's like got these plans out, sitting there, and he's like, and they're like, oh my God, they're like fanboying over him, like Doc Ock, Doc Ock. He's like, silence, you nuttery nincompoops. Can't you see that I'm trying to think? So Doc Ock's sitting there, and he's trying to figure out whatever this equation was, trying to get back some of the memories he had before he became Superior Spider-Man. And he's like, this, I knew this, the ultimate equation, the culmination of my life's work. Why does it elude me? Perhaps the solution will present itself. A beer? So one of his little octoids wants to serve him a beer. And he's like, shut up! He's like, you idiot octoid! Alcohol would dull my senses.
Yep.
And, then he's like, I need all my wits about me. I need to be able to think clearly. He says, power enough to crush all of my enemies. Just revenge on Osborn the Owl Fisk. I think I'm sounding more like Kingpin than Doc Ock. Anyway. And then he's, but most of all, that accursed Spider-Man. So, you know, all these, there's some other guys in the bar, including this 8-ball head. He's like, hey, Doc, wouldn't mind taking a break? I'd like to shoot some pool. And he's like, enough. He's like, do you know why I'm here, Creighton? Why I chose to patronize this little poor establishment? And then, you know, the guy's like, oh, sorry. He's like, he says, you're all beneath me, you B-listers. He says, no one would ever understand. And the 8-ball guy's like, all signs point to yes. Like one of those 8 balls, you know, that you flip over and ask it a question. So the next thing you know, Doc Ock is looking in the Marys in the men's room. He's all like, you know, he's like, what is going on with me? What is happening? Why can't I remember these things? And then the next thing you know, Spider-Man appears in his mind. And he's like, why can't I get this equation? He's like, Spider-Man's like, well, because you never solved it, you imbecile. And, you know, Doc Ock gets all pissed off, you know, breaks the mirror with his tentacles. And he's like, oh, I know what I must do. He goes, to get those memories back that I can no longer fully remember, very well, if I have to learn this great secret, I must return to my life as Superior Spider-Man. Do, do, do.
Dun, dun, dun.
So I don't know if that's gonna like, if he's gonna go back and try and kill Peter again, if he's gonna try and like maybe take up some other dead body, or if it's gonna go back to like flashbacks to when he was Superior Spider-Man. He's kind of gonna reminisce about some stories that they didn't tell in that run or what. But I was like, And of course they've restarted that run. There's a new
it came out. There was a one shot. There was a one shot of it, right? To introduce it, and then there was the actual issue 1 that came out.
Yeah, I think I have that one shot, and I think I have the first or second issue that I have yet to read, but I'm hoping that'll clarify some things. I don't know. I don't know if you want to give me a backlog rating on this one yet, or if you want to wait.
We're gonna wait till all the stories and rate it as a whole.
Okay.
We'll try to combine it or something like that. Issue as a whole, because if we rate each and every one of them, it's just gonna be confusing. I just want to say, these pretty much are gonna end up being little advertisements for other series.
Mm-hmm.
The story with Kamala Khan, that's just a continuation, like a post what happened, everything that happened with them conversation and all that. This was actually, you know, a little taste of what you might get in the Superior Spider-Man that slot and Mark Bagley is doing. I don't know if I'm going to continue with the series. I'm still iffy about it because I'm so behind in my backlog. Maybe if I catch up, I'll go back to it later on. But yeah, I do want to read it and stuff like that. So it wasn't terrible, but I understand why they did. They're trying to advertise for that new series, and I understand why they did this big issue. You guys, everybody complained, but you know, the main story was pretty thick. It was a lot of issues, and if it didn't need to be $9.99, I don't know. So far the stories has been worth it, but it doesn't get better. Like the first story, that story was decent. This one actually was really good. This one was like decent, and it started getting worse. So keep on keeping on. You ready for this next one?
All right.
Oh Lord.
So the next one was by a writer, Celeste Bronfman. Not familiar with her. Penciler is Alba Galez. The color artist is Jim Campbell. Inkers are Elisabetta D'Amico and Craig Young. So anyway, keep on moving on. In the words of Herm.
Keeping on.
So this story opens up in a therapy session with MJ and Paul. Can't believe I said his name. And so she's So MJ's got all these feelings in her mind. She's like, how the heck did I get here? Why am I seeing a therapist again? And it's revealed, she's dealing with the death of her fake kids, virtual kids. It makes me think of Scarlet Witch making her take care of kids with vision and all that. Anyway, so she's sitting there asking herself all these questions. And, the therapist is like, it's okay to feel grief. It's okay to cry. And Mary Jane's like, I may never understand a world without Owen and Romy Stephanie. Those were her kids. She never did figure out which name she liked best. And she's like, these days, my life, it feels like an out-of-tune orchestra. Specific moments stand out and everything is sort of muddy. And the therapist's like, Mary Jane, emotions will come and go like waves. It's important to embrace instances or relief when you feel them. And MJ's like, oh, God. She mentions this every single damn time we're here. But it's difficult to find a break from the pain. And then it goes back, and then we go to a police station. And the police is like, Paul's all like, flipping out. He's like, why are you blaming me? Just because it was my dad that, tried to ruin the world. And the cop's like, no one's trying to blame you, Mr. Raven. Osborne's safe house, the whole thing with, Doc Ock blowing up Osborne's lab and all that stuff. He's like, it was teaming with cameras. We saw what happened. The children disappeared. We're just hoping you can tell us how. And Paul's like, I have no freaking idea. And Mary Jane's like, wait, why are you blaming Paul? Why are you blaming Paul? He didn't do anything wrong. So it shows them at home. They're over at Aunt Anna's. Aunt Anna, the freak.
Oh, boy.
And MJ's looking at the newspaper, and they have this picture of her as her alter ego, the new heroin jackpot. It says new hero in the neighborhood. And she's like, what the hell? I don't want to see this. She like rips up the newspaper, and then it opens with her in bed. She's sitting there stuck in this endless cycle, thinking about these kids, and and then she's thinking about, then I remember little Romy, the feeling of her hand in mine, unable to decide whether or not she wanted to let go. And then little Owen, I could feel him breathing on my neck. It was so wonderful, these children. And then she's like, it's so painfully real. I decided to forget for a moment. But then I just, I grieve the loss of these kids. She's like, it's just unrealistic. So she's barely awake. She wanders down to the living room. And lo and behold, there's Black Cat. And the art here almost kind of gets like little kid animated, like little little kid books, like for younger Marvel readers, which is okay, So, she's, Felicia's sitting there. And
Alba Glass is the name. I guess is a girl. Alba Glass.
Might be.
Yeah.
Like a younger artist.
It's not bad art. You know what I mean?
Not too bad.
Cute little art.
Yeah. And MJ is all flipping out on her. She's like, Felicia, why are you wearing my sweater? And Black Cat's like, well, the green, was working against you. It clashes with your red hair. She's like, but however, it's a great color on me. So I've decided to keep it. Thank you, MJ. So they go in and have this, little girl talk. And, she's got a gift for her. She's like, yeah, open it up. So MJ takes out this souped up, worked over jackpot suit. And, Black Cat's like, yeah, it's aerodynamic and you're indestructible. Tailor-made to complement your jackpot powers. And by the way, made some upgrades. So don't you dare try to get that back. And MJ's like, I appreciate this hero thing, but, Peter, he's more of a hero than I am. She's like, he set the standard. The bar is high. I'm just this jackpot chick. And then Felicia's all, MJ, your power saved us in limbo. She says, you've already been a hero more times than I can count. And like Peter always says, with great guilt comes a great sadness that hopefully leads to helping people. And I was like, what the hell?
I don't think he put it that way, but okay.
No. She's like, I love you, Felicia, like a sister, but you've got it way wrong. And then she's like feeling bad for herself again, thinking about the kids. She's like, this city's, it's better. They're better off with, people like Peter and maybe even you. And she's like, and then Felicia's like, what happened with your kids was not your fault, MJ. You took those kids in because they needed your help. Using your heart's never a mistake. She says, and maybe, sure, they weren't the same as us, but why does it matter? Your love for them was real.
Yeah.
Oh, and then MJ's like thinking and thinking and thinking, and Felicia's like, I'll see you later. You think about it. I gave you the new suit. The city needs you. She's like, but don't be an idiot about it, okay? Put the suit on. Be that hero. Be that other hero that the city needs. And then MJ's like, So, yeah, I did help save some people in limbo. I helped save the kids. I'm gonna help save some other people too. See, next thing you know, she's flying out the window. She's like, I'm gonna be just like Peter. With great power, there must also come great responsibility. So she's sitting there, in her jackpot suit, and she's like, face it, New York, you've hit the jackpot.
Face it, New York, you just hit the jackpot.
Really? I'm like, really? Like, this is so cheesy. Oh man.
Oh man. Listen, we've covered some cheesy here, and we enjoy cheesy at some point. It's like, okay, this is a little too cheesy.
Yeah. And I was like, it kind of harkened back to that run with her, Felicia and MJ.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I was watching, they should have had their own talk show, their own Marvel talk show, Girl Talk with MJ and Felicia. I was like, man. You're like, real man.
I was like speechless, man. I didn't even know what to say. I was just looking at it like, I kind of pre-ordered the first issue because I'm an idiot, but oh man,
Don't be an idiot, Herm. No.
It's just, I know it's gonna be bad, but I'm still gonna beat it. You know what I mean? Maybe I end up loving it. I don't know, but wow. We're gonna move on because I have nothing unless you got anything else to say. If you have something you can say, but say it and then you can move on if you want. Because I'm not touching this. It's just I can't.
So we go back to the bar with No Name, and these guys are like, "Man, I still can't believe Doc Ock was here." And then this other guy's like, "Yeah, I told you something cool would happen at the grand reopening." And then the next thing you know, camera veers, and lo and behold, who's at the bar? Taskmaster. And then, Taskmaster's sitting there, and he's like, breaks this bottle in his hands, and the bartender's like, hey, whoa, Taskmaster, you know the rules. No fights here. And then the Taskmaster's like, don't worry, Deke. I'll take this one outside. After all, you and I go way back, don't we? And I really loved the artwork on Taskmaster's face, the skull.
Mm-hmm. That was pretty good, yeah.
Really good. And so, he goes outside, and then the She version, Spider-Woman.
The She version.
And Spider-Woman is not happy. And she just, excuse my language, family show, but she bitch slaps Taskmaster. Just crunch. And then Taskmaster's trying to get up. He says, you get that one and the beer for free. Go for a third cheap shot, and we're going to have a problem, Drew. And she's all like, you train cannon fodder for every organization that makes this world a worse place, Taskmaster. Man, I don't do as good woman impersonations as Herm, but...
That was great. I loved it.
She's like,
you gotta do Jessica Drew's voice from now on.
Yeah. She's like, I need the names of your graduates. The worst are the worst. Do you know what I mean? And he's like, you think I'm have alphabetized manila folders of all my underlings. He says employers on that level, they don't leave paper trails. He's like, I don't want, their crap leading back to me. I'm Taskmaster. And she's like pissed. She's like, takes another sucker punch. She, knocks him cold. He's like, okay, that's it. That's it, Drew. He says, that's your third strike. You don't scare me. I trained you. And she's like, well, then you remember what my Venom Blast can do when I don't hold back.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, loyalty's never been my strong suit. She's like, I want the names. Give me the damn names of your underlings. He's like, fine. He goes, go to Stuyvesant Square. There's a loose brick to the left of the statue. 7 a.m. tomorrow. There's going to be a USB stick full of the names, sorted by client and everything. He's like, consider it a favor. It's the only one you'll get. And he's like, but out of curiosity, this Avengers business, spider shenanigans, or is it strictly personal? She's like, look, try to keep out of whatever comes next, Taskmaster, considering that might favor to you. And then it goes on to Spidey having a conversation with Captain Marvel. He's like, I haven't seen Jessica recently. He's like, just kind of it didn't exist for a little bit. He's like, but we fixed it, I swear. And then it shows, I guess, some flashbacks of Jessica in her life, talking with Captain Marvel. And then, she's like saying, she showed up out of the blue the other night, and Danny, she's like, get that out of your mouth. She's chasing her kid. At least I hope that this is Spider-Woman. And so she's saying, wouldn't tell me where she got it or why. I helped her weed out the dead and incarcerated, but with Luke's job and Danny's, seriously? So I'm trying to make them remember this. Is she talking about, does she mean Luke as in Luke Cage?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wait, no, is this Jessica Jones or this is Jessica Drew?
Oh, that's what I was wondering. I thought maybe it was Jessica Jones because
no.
The woman here looks like Jessica Drew.
She does look like Jessica.
Yeah.
Jessica Jones.
Yeah, I'm confused.
Well, I'm confused too.
But so it shows Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, or Jessica Drew, the detective.
No, it's Jessica Drew. It has to be her because she does have a kid. She was pregnant and had a kid.
Oh.
I thought it was a son, but I guess it's a daughter.
That's right. Yeah, I know. I had mine was backlogged. So
no, it's all right. She does look like Jessica Jones there.
Oh, Jessica Jones. That's right. Jessica Jones, not Jessica Drew.
Yeah. That's the other Jessica. This is the Spider-Woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Spider-Woman. That's right. Yeah.
Jessica Drew is Spider-Woman. Jessica Jones is Jessica Jones. You know what I mean? Private detective. Private eye. Whatever. Married to Luke Cage.
So it goes back to Spider-Woman. She's confronting this guy with doing a drug deal, I think with some Krakoan drugs, I think maybe. And so she just like puts the beat down on him. She comes slamming down on him. She's like, okay, Taskmaster gave me your name. Your name's Isaac Tate. You're 35. And she's like, no one gets to walk away from the monsters you worked for. He's like, well, I'm going to die before I tell you anything. And she's like, wait, what are you doing? Next thing you know, he puts one of those, the immediate suicide, like gum things in his mouth, chews on it.
Hydra, yeah.
Gurgling green vomit. He's like, hail Hydra. She's like, wait, no.
Show him the pictures.
Me?
Show him show him the art.
Oh yeah. So he's like, Alka-Seltzered out on death. Pop, fizz. And she's like, where's my baby?
Dun, dun, dun.
Continued.
To be continued.
Yeah.
So this is pretty much a advertisement for Spider-Woman #1.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Jessica Drew and Captain Marvel, they're best friends. They're the group. Jessica Jones, Jessica Drew, what's She-Hulk? They're all best friends
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff like that. They're friends with the Wasp too. But Hellcat too. You know what I mean? So they're all like that group right there. They all like hang out a lot. So in each and every one of their comics, you're gonna get one of them. You know what I mean? Which I think is pretty cool. I think
Mhm.
they'll keep bringing in, like the She-Hulk run, which is excellent. I don't have the sensational She-Hulk ones yet, but the last She-Hulk one is freaking phenomenal. I loved it. But
Hmm.
yeah. So in those stories, like Jessica Jones, when you see, um, excuse me, when you see her storylines and all that, these women get written into to their issues because they're all best friends. So Carol Danvers and Jessica Drew hangs out a lot. They hang out a lot. So out of the bunch and stuff like that. So every time you see Jessica Drew in her issues almost all the time, especially when Kelly Thompson was doing them. Um, yeah.
Huh.
And I guess Hydra was never dead, so they're back, and they have
Mm-hmm.
somehow they have her kid. So and that's where this whole storyline's about, where you see her crying, and it says to be continuing Spider-Woman #1. So
Yeah.
that's the relaunch of Spider-Woman, and yeah. So this story wasn't terrible. It's an advertising towards the next. The next, it was better than the last one with the Mary Jane jackpot. I'll tell you that much. And the
Yeah.
art was really good. What happened?
Yeah. I liked how it opened. It kept the same locale, the bar with no name. It opened from Doc Ock's little, uh, little whimper, his little pity party, into Taskmaster and Spider Woman. So that was kind of cool. This
Bobby
next one,
Hardcore Station. He said he always gets the Jessica's mixed up too. And my man Nick said Taskmaster is a cool looking dude, and the way
yeah,
they drew him here is really good.
yeah.
And Bobby also said he met Zeb Wells at a local comic book shop. He said he gave him his
What?
phone number. We had
What?
Zeb Wells' phone number. You know what I mean? We're gonna have to get him on here. You know what I mean? But like, what are
Oh
you doing, buddy? You know what I'm saying?
man,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
yeah.
that's pretty cool. Anything else you want to say about this story before we go to the next one?
Um, I liked it. Now that you filled me in more on the backstory of, it makes me want to check out the She-Hulk for sure.
Oh, that's the She-Hulk. If somebody looking for like a lot of action and stuff like that, it's not. There's some action here and there, but it's like a soap opera kind of thing. But it's
Oh yeah.
fun. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy the heck out of it. Um, so it's a great read. I still need to finish the last couple of issues before the new run, the relaunch run, which makes no sense. But yeah, man. So yeah, we like the story. So far, like one good, one bleh. Another one, no, one good, one okay, another bleh, and another okay one, even though it has nothing to do with Spider-Man. It's
Yeah.
Peter Parker, you know what I mean?
This next one is kind of weirded me out. I'm like, what the heck?
Another
So,
bleh.
so this opens on a Adams Family looking house somewhere in a stately Stillwell Manor up in
That was
Westchester
fun
County,
looking.
New York.
Yeah.
So it's got this chicken man.
Yeah.
He's going, ah, ah, ah! And he's like, so Chicken Man's trying to wake up whoever lives in this house. He's like, he's like, sorry, friends, got a little tickle in my throat. Won't happen again. He's like, please don't tell Madam M. So Madam M happens to be this woman, Madam Monstrosity. And so she's sitting there waking up. The butler is this like, I guess grasshopper or something. He's like, good morning, ma'am. Your paper's here. I'm afraid there's an article on page 1 that might distress you. She's like, easy there, Cricket. You know me. I'm not one to shoot the messenger. That voice was bad. And she's like, Tabby? And Tabby's like this tabby cat, like maid. She's like, what do you got for me for breakfast? She's like, eggs and bacon, ma'am. She's like, delightful. And Polly, be a good boy. Put Mr. Rooster for dissection, would you? So apparently they didn't like Mr. Rooster's wake-up call. And Professor Polly. He's like, prep for dissection, ma'am. So the Man of Monstrosity is some kind of Cruella de Vil looking chick. I don't know if Man of Monstrosity's been in other stuff. If she has been, then forgive me because I don't recall Man of Monstrosity. She kind of looks like the female Doc Ock from it was, I think, Scarlet Spider's enemy for a while, I believe.
Yeah.
So she's like looking at the newspaper. She's asking her butler. He's, she's not happy with the bacon. She's like, this simply is not going to do. She's not happy with the bacon. She's not happy with the paper she's reading. She's like, give me my dang phone. So she, places a phone call, and this chick answers like in a cyborg suit. And she's like, Empire Unlimited, Dr. Shannon Stillwell speaking. This is a private line. How did you? She's like, oh, hello, mother. And Man of Monstrosities, all getting dolled up. And she's like, don't use that tone with me, young lady. I brought you into this world and I can take you out of it. And then she's all like nice and like, now tell me, darling, I must know, have you been pilfering my precious technology? This never ends well for you children. Do you recall what happened to your brother Farley? And it kind of goes back to all these like experiments that happened that made some of the sure sounds like a Spider-Man villain.
Oh wait,
all right, Damien.
that was Nick actually.
Well, then I take it back. Yeah. So they continue the conversation, and her daughter's like, "Oh, yes, I remember, mother. My brother created the scorpion, and then she's like, and he's like, oh, he died shortly after." And she's like, "What happened to your other brother, Harlan?" And she's like, "Yes, I know. He used your work, mom, to create the human fly." And then mom's like, and then she's like, "He also died." She's like, "Mother, are you threatening me?" She's like, "Not at all, my sweet puppet. I'm merely pointing out, that bad things seem to happen to my children that cross me." She's like, "You better have not taken my research." And she's going back to like, I don't know, all these other Spidey villains, Morbius and Rhino, the lizard. And she's like, "Yes, mother, are you satisfied?" She's like, "Of course I'm not, you little brat. Because neither of you, not even one of your brain-dead brothers, back from the dead, are behind this. Someone took my technology, and I'm going to find out who." She says, "Someone's out there creating my monstrosities, taking credit for it." Next thing you know, she's like showing a paper with Spider-Boy, who I guess is there's a new Spider-Boy that I haven't gotten into that yet, that series, but it's got him on the front fighting Shocker, or I mean Electro, sorry. And she's like, "Because I'm looking at monstrosity right now." She's setting her sights on Spider-Boy. So, yeah. That was a weird story.
I don't think it was a good story to start the Spider-Boy series. I'm like, whew. I know they were trying to explain, I guess the origin a little bit of Spider-Boy and all that, how he became, or whoever this scientist is. I probably got to do another reread of this before, because I did buy Spider-Boy #1. I haven't read it yet. Spider-Boy is a character. Dan Slott, like I said before, Dan Slott was trying to prove people wrong. By people have said like Spider-Man doesn't need a sidekick for years, not like Batman and stuff like that. So he's like doing the whole like trope. People are like, see, he can have a sidekick kind of thing. That's what I think he's doing with this Spider-Boy.
Mm-hmm.
I like the design of Spider-Boy. I don't know if I love um um if I really love his the whole the whole reasoning for everything. He was like has to talk with Peter Parker and all that in one of the issues.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nick's like Spider-Boy's origin is explained in his #1 issue. Okay. Thanks, Nick. So I need to read that. But like I'm not loving the character so far. He's not a bad character. It's just like the whole reasoning, people forgot who he was kind of thing, and he's explaining to Spider-Man why he needs a sidekick, and Spider-Man doesn't want to deal with having a kid, you know, be with him and something happens to him, to a minor, you know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
already bad for him. Politics. People hate him already. But but I'm gonna read it, see if I like it. But this story, I don't know if it was necessary. Like
Yeah.
I said, this is an Amazing Spider-Man book, and they're trying to use the Amazing Spider-Man run because a lot of people buy this. This is their flagship issues. People buy it, so they're trying to advertise these other issues. Is pretty much why people get mad at the 9.99 books, because if the 9.99 book was the whole story, I think people would be all right with it, because this
Oh
is
yeah.
literally like 4 books for the price of 2.5, maybe. You know what I mean?
I mean, if it was one of those, the Marvel Tales, like the smaller volume, like collected best of so and so, then I could see the price being worth it. But like, I think they just released I think it was a Moon Knight and Manwolf or something like that, or Werewolf by Night. One of
I
those
mean,
Marvel.
it's like a 96-page book. You know what I mean? It's the
Yeah.
reason why it's 9.99. You know what I mean? Like a lot, like more than half the book, it's the main story. And then they have the the little Kamala Khan story. But yeah, I don't know if this was necessary to put this in the book. You got the Spider Woman and all that. The Superior Spider-Man, but they're trying to advertise all these books. But this story right here, I don't know if it moved the needle to go by Spider-Boy. But Nick says we got his origin and the origin of one of his foes. So
Yeah.
pretty cool. I'm definitely gonna sit down soon and read it. Maybe by the next show, and see what I thought about it. A quick synopsis of what I thought about Spider-Boy. So I'm guessing you're not really crazy about the Spider-Boy character neither, or are you interested?
Well, this story, at least, as a catalyst, I didn't like too much. I mean, Man of Monstrosity, interesting. Definitely gives me, like I was saying, like a kind of Cruella de Vil type character.
Cruella de Vil.
I don't know if I really like that too much, but
Yeah.
since Marvel is owned by Disney, maybe there's something there, but I won't go off on that because. But anyway,
Keep on keeping on.
I don't want you to get a strike on YouTube.
Yeah, you don't want that. All right, let's move on. There's a couple of more little stories left. It's not a lot of pages, guys. It's just a lot of little stories
Yeah.
left.
So the next 2 stories are little short ones, kind of cheesy, but kind of funny too. So the next one is by a guy named Albert Montes. I guess he drew it and wrote it. But this opens up with this red-haired nerd-looking guy, and he's like running from Rhino. He's like, oh my god, I hope I'm not too late. He's like, where is it? It has to be here. It has to. And the next thing you know, Spidey's like, swinging out of nowhere. Saving him from getting rammed by Rhino. He's like, watch your step, buddy. The traffic is heavy today. And Rhino just runs off, and the guy's like, Spidey's like, no, get back to your house and lock the door. And the guy's like, thank you, Spider-Man. Kind of sounding like the old man from Quantum Mania. Calling Ant-Man Spider-Man. Thank you, Spider-Man. Anyway. And the guy's like all huffing and puffing. He's like, man, thank you, Spider-Man. He's like, oh, wow. And then a couple of weeks later, the same guy is in peril, this time from Sandman. And Spidey's like, wait a minute, this is like deja vu. Haven't I seen you before somewhere? And the guy's all again. He's like, don't stand there. You might get sand in your pants, kid. And then later that same month, saving him from the lizard, he gets that deja vu feeling again. And a few days later, saving him from Vulture. It's like, okay, what's going on here? So, out of nowhere, Spidey's sitting there in a building. Out of nowhere comes Johnny Storm. He's like, oh, hey, Johnny. He's like, and then Johnny's like, well, what did you want to talk about? He's like, been watching the news. I seen you met Perry. He's like, Perry who? He's like that skinny red-haired nerd that, been following you around. He's like, what? Well, come on. Whoa, wait a minute. Come on. You know his story? What's going on here? So Johnny Storm, proceeds to tell him, oh, yeah, this guy has a rescue complex. He likes to be rescued by people. We were one of his Fantastic Four was one of his victims. He's like, but Mr. Thing, good old Blue Eyes Ben, pulled him aside, said, look, kid, had a little chat with him. He says, why don't you stop bothering us? I think I can think of another guy you could go bother. What about Spider-Man? And he's like, Spidey's like, well, can't you have Ben talk to him again? Reverse the whole thing? And Johnny's like, nope, sorry, bud. We got a restraining order against it. So Spidey's like, oh, shit, what am I going to do? So he decides to, anyway. So the guy's running again, this time from Electro. He's like, oh, God, Electro's wreaking havoc. Ah! And this normal plainclothes dude in a costume's like, oh, you must be Perry. And then Perry's like, well, wait a minute. You're not Spider-Man. He's like, oh, Spider-Man's a little busy, Perry. He's saving the city. And, he's like, I can think of so many better options for how to help you. He's like, come on. He grabs him by the hand. He's like, why don't I just walk you away from Electro? Like, let's pretend you're like a, little old lady. Let's cross the street. And the guy's like, this is gross. He's like, you're pretending to be Spider-Man. You're not the real Spider-Man. This is just so gross. He's like, at least the Fantastic Four had the decency to look me in the eye and break it to me. Like, we can't help you anymore, Perry. He says, he's like, man, you think you know people? He's like, after all we've been through, Spider-Man. He's like, Spider has been. And then the next thing you know, Johnny's like, yep, I hope save your hide, Peter. He's like, you're a real friend, Johnny. So I guess Johnny Blaze was the one in the costume. And Johnny Blaze is like, well, Peter, you owe me one. He's like, don't make promises you can't keep. It shows Perry looking off into the sunset. Look at it. Oh, poor Daredevil. So this was a wacky one-off story. I actually enjoyed it. But it even gets wackier on the next one because we got another kind of like story for little children called Loosey Goosey. Spider-Man's like bored. He's like so bored. And this goose flies out of nowhere and he's like, oh, hello there. He's like, and who are you, little goose? He's like, I think I might give you a name. He's like, from now on, you'll be known as Stanley. And he's like telling Stanley these stories. He's like telling him about Venom. He's like, so, I was all like, Venom? What kind of name is Venom? More like Denim. Yeah, Stanley, I guess you're not a very good audience. He's like, you had to be there. And then Spidey's like, whoa. And out of nowhere comes Doc Ock. He's like, Spider-Man, your time is up. And Spidey's like, stay here, Stanley, stay here. I'll take care of it. And then Doc Ock's like, wait a minute. Is that a goose? And he goes, honk. And Spidey's like trying to hide him. He's like, yeah, yes. He comes out like honk. And Doc Ock's like, whoa, what is this? And Stanley starts attacking him. He's like, no fair, Spider-Man. You can't hide behind your poultry forever. and he's like, oh, nice job, Stanley. He goes, next time Doc Ock shows up, I'll sick you on him. And then he's like reaching into Spidey's pocket. He's like, "Whoa, buddy, whoa! What are you reaching in my pocket for? Are you trying to get fresh with me?" He's like, "Hey, you took my emergency cookie." And Stanley's like, "I'm done with you, Spider-Man. I got your cookie. I'm out of here." And he's like, "Look, you took my cookie. Does that mean we're friends now?" He's like, "Goodbye, Stanley. I love you."
And he flies away.
Yep, he flies away. So yeah, that another weird, wacky story that I'm like, what? Why? I'm like, this should have been one of those little golden books for kids.
They gotta, yeah, right. They gotta fill that $9.99. You know what I mean? They gotta give us our money's worth, man.
I know.
All right, man. We got what? One more story.
Yeah.
Two more stories.
So we got this really cool story with awesome art. And
art is awesome.
Oh, yeah. Huntress. So I guess Zeb Wells wrote it, but we've got our man Patrick Gleason, which didn't surprise me. I'm a big Patrick Gleason fan.
Yes.
Doing the art. And it shows this it shows the Red Goblin like fighting with oh my god, I feel so bad for forgetting
Kraven the Hunter.
Kraven the Hunter. Oh my gosh. I'm so ashamed. And it shows them, I guess she's on the hunt, or maybe they're both on the hunt. And they're talking about the feelings of what it's like to be on the hunt. And I don't know if this is Kraven's thoughts. He's like, it's intoxicating, this feeling, the electricity of being alive. So this is a gift I give my prey, the thrill of being hunted. In the chase, I know her by her scent. So I guess he's saying he smells Red Goblin. He says that pungent scent and her screams. And then I guess maybe she's hunting him. She's like a magnificent beast. Or maybe they're hunting the same prey. But, the thoughts continue. Entire lives are lived in these moments when death is near. Past and present, sharpened to a gleaming point. Roaring with every breath you take. Roaring your life's fire. Death feels such a tiny price. And it shows some blood, maybe from the hunt. But, man, the art on her and Kraven, wow, fantastic. And I'm thinking that's obviously got to be Gleason, because
yeah, oh yeah.
And then I think it shows, I don't know, maybe they were out on the hunt together, because it shows them kind of, I guess, in bed together. And he's like,
no, I don't think they're in the hunt together. They just, for whatever reason, they ran into each other and they kind of turned themselves on to each other.
Maybe
that's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, because he says, rage turned to passion. Hers or mine, does it matter? She speaks of legacies worn, totems resurrected. Is that in reference to Raven? And then it shows Spider-Man with, like, in hellfire, his eyes. A hunt to nourish us both. She's still, but not sleeping. Does she fear me? Is she stalking me still? So I guess they were having a scuffle. And a hunt to nourish us both. He's like, my heart no longer cares. It only beats with life's fire. So obviously he's worked up about, hunting Spidey again. This kind of leads into something, maybe the next few issues, maybe?
Yes.
That
which
there.
We'll cover next week. But, all right.
Yeah. And then, speaking of gang war coming up, speaking about the return of Kingpin. So, Kingpin's obviously been, has been dead, I guess. Something else I totally forgot about. So it shows Kingpin, I guess, crawling out of his grave, and this guy that's been keeping him alive. So Kingpin's crawling out of his grave. He's like, it's been so long. I wonder if they've forgotten me. Crawling through the rubble for hours, looking for a way out, a way to live. But a 10-year diet of an IV drip has left my body a bag of bones. And the guy that's been keeping him alive was like, help, is anyone here? And he's like, when I hear a familiar voice, the one that kept me captive, chained to a wheelchair in a tube, it gives me the strength to keep going. He's like, Waters? And the guy's like, the explosion knocked me clear across the room. The room right before it all came down. He's like, every year you dragged me out of my hole to what you eat while I starved. You thought you could exile me, break me? He's like, help, I can't feel my legs. He's like, already my hunger is returning. He's like, Fisk, is that you? He's like, not your god, your king. And the next thing you know, he's going all Bane on him. He's like breaking the dude's back. So that's him coming out of the grave. The guy just like basically losing his life because, you know, Kingpin likes to break people literally.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'll do anything for you. Anything. Just to spare me. And he's like, the king has returned. Itsy bitsy spider went up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. And you can hear the IV drip going brum, brum, brum. And then, oh man, woo! It opens. Monster Kingpin. Up came the rain and dried the spider out.
Show them what he looks like. He looks
They're like,
awful.
whoa!
He looks a little bit like the Across the Spider-Verse Kingpin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a cross between
Into the
Kingpin
Spider-Verse.
and Krang the Brain from Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. He's had better days. He's had better days, the Kingpin.
He's definitely had better days. And so his assistant's there. He's hooked up to these life-saving IVs. She's like, well, sorry to interrupt your bath, my king. She says, but this civil agitation, the civil agitation meters are hitting red again. The council is asking permission to up the levels of Cernes to compensate. And he's like, approved? But medication is only a temporary elixir. A king must serve his people and lead them to a permanent solution. Transform them into the future. Or bury them in the past. He's like, I've grown restless. I want the DBN broadcast pushed up to this week. She's like, of course, Mayor Fisk. The city eagerly awaits your announcement. And he's like, I wonder if they would be so eager if they knew what was coming. So it ends with that, like, duh, duh, duh. And then it goes on to, you know, the rest of, you know, itsy bitsy spider crawled up the water spout.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes to, okay, I really don't know what's going on here. It looks like...
I'll let you know. Just finish it. I'll let you know.
Oh, yeah. So it kind of shows, I guess, like Spidey clinging to a cross with MJ with her arms wrapped around her. Like he looks like he's been through a really bad fight.
He's got an old... white beard.
Oh, is it a beard? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure if it was a beard or if it was part of Craven's like clothing, you know, the white, like part of the leopard skin or whatever. Mm-hmm. So MJ is like, Peter, where'd you go this time? And he's like, well, I was with you. She's like, silly Peter, you don't belong to me. You belong to them. This is your city. Mm-hmm. He's like, the city is calling. She says, can't you hear the rhymes? Children are singing, you know, the itsy bitsy spider. They've begun to sing again. This is really good art too. You can't see MJ's face, but then it goes on to like darkness. And she's like, so much hurt, pain and death, so many things you can't rewind. What did you let them do, Tiger? And what are we going to do about it? And it shows this huge, wait a minute, whoops.
It's hard, it's a big book.
It looks like a number 2 lit up. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then it says, the most notorious Spider-Man story ever told returns.
All right. That little story is the continuation. I have to do a reread on it, but that's part 2 of Spider-Man Reign. Have you ever heard of Spider-Man Reign?
I believe so.
Yeah. So this is a series my wife read, and she told me about it because we picked up one of the issues at a comic shop years ago, a couple of years ago.
Hmm.
It's a famous story where, spoilers, if anybody hasn't read it, um, Peter Parker and is still married to Mary Jane. They were together, but she died. You know what I mean? And she died early, and even though they were old, because she got poisoned off of Peter Parker's sperm.
He's what?
His sperm.
What? What the heck?
Radioactive. It affected because he got bit by a spider, so he's has radioactive in him.
Oh, man.
So
What the
that's
heck?
it's a series by Karen Andrews, and it he or she, I think it's a he wrote and drew the whole series. It's a 4-issue series that came out in early of 2007,
Whoa.
and
Huh. Is
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Do they have it in graphic novel form?
Is
Because I'm
what
curious. So I was
they
like,
do have.
what?
They I think because they're bringing it out again, they might have it again. They'll have to reprint it in graphic novel form. So look for it because it's a good story though. Like it sounds. A lot of people make fun of the how it happened kind of thing, but he loses MJ because of that
Spider sperm?
spider sperm, man.
Oh my god. Man.
And because of that, people are like, oh my god, what? But it is a good story. It's sad and all that. And now here, an older Peter Parker, which I don't remember if he was retired or not, and then he ended up going back to being Spider-Man because he pretty much had nothing else to do. What else he's gonna do? But I don't remember the whole story. I have to reread it. What happened?
Kind of reminds me of future Hulk, Maestro with the beard and everything.
Yeah.
But,
Also, you can talk about the Batman series by Frank Miller. Was it Frank Miller? The I forgot the name of it. The one that he's older and all that. He has the girl Robin. Oh my god, I can't
oh yeah,
remember. Yeah, Batman Returns was it? The original series. It's like a 4 issue.
maybe it wasn't year
Yeah.
one. No, year one was.
No. Year one happens year one. This was like
Well,
Batman. There was a card. There was a animated series, a 2-parter of it. You know what I mean? I think it's called Batman Returns. Dark Knight Returns. Thank you,
Dark
Sal.
Knight.
Thank
Oh,
you.
that's right.
Dark Knight. This is what happens when you go live. You forget everything. You forget your own name if you can. But Dark Knight Returns. So it kind of reminds me a little bit of that, but Spider-Man style.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very good. It's very good. I think we should cover it here. I think before this series is gonna come out soon, we should go. And if you can find you could get it in Marvel Unlimited if you can. But if you could find the trade, it's worth it. Like I said, they'll have to bring out the trade again if they're gonna bring out again, so people could see it. So yeah, man. So I
Oh,
wish I knew this was gonna go ahead. What
I'm
happened?
gonna run to the restroom real quick.
Oh no, don't worry, you don't have radioactive that stuff, so all right, go ahead, man. We're pretty much ending the show, but yeah, let me pick myself the solo act right here. So yeah, this pretty much that's what you see back here, which is pretty good little art right there, where it's saying the number 2 and stuff like that. And I guess I don't know if they needed to bring the story back, but it's a good story. I'm curious to see how they go through with it, and yeah, so that's pretty much what we did. But overall, this book, like I said, we gave the main story a 3.0, and the backup stories, some of it was good, some of it was advertising new books. So I don't even know what to rank the backup stories. I guess I keep to I'll have to. I need to read Ring 2. Yeah, I need to do a reread. We probably cover it here. You know what I mean? Maybe we'll cover like an issue at a time or something like that. And when we come, when we catch up, because our plan is to catch up to the main Spider-Man series to the end, and hopefully we can start covering other stuff like Dark Reign, because it is a good story, pretty interesting. Um, and I'm hoping to get to that soon. But yeah. So this show went on pretty long. I'm waiting for time to come back. I hope you guys enjoyed this story. But like I said, this particular issue, there was a lot of the main story was enjoyable enough. We just hated how he spoilers broke up with Black Cat. It was really dumb. The story with Miss Marvel was really good. Um, I'll just leave it at 3.0 backlog as a total for now. If you're a Spider-Man fan, it's worth reading. If you're like an outsider that likes Spider-Man, I don't know if it is. Um, but I love the crime boss stuff and all that. Gang War, I'm kind of iffy on it, but like I said, I'm gonna read the main run, and then I'm gonna read the Amazing Spider-Man, and we're probably gonna cover it here, because that's what's coming up. So our homeboy is back. So let me take myself out. So overall, like I was telling them, Tom, I'm gonna leave it at 3.0 for the issue. You know what I mean? Even though some of the backups was iffy, but some of them was actually pretty good. You know, even though they were advertising for other series. Which I don't blame them sometimes. It's an Amazing Spider-Man book. They've been doing it for years. So this was pretty good. And for our next show, before I end this one, we're going back to the Amazing Spider-Man. It's back to normal for now. We're covering issue number 32 and issue number 33. And I think, I don't remember, this is just a 2-issue run of this Kraven the Hunter's back with the Goblin. I keep saying it wrong. I don't know if it's Goblin Queen or because it's not the Red Goblin. I think it.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? What Goblin? I think it's Goblin Queen because the Goblin comes before the color. You know what I mean? Because before it was the Green Goblin, but whatever. But that's gonna be the story between them two and Kraven the Hunter. This is not the original Kraven the Hunter. This is actually a clone of the Sun or whatever, and then whatever. It's comics, guys. So we're gonna cover this probably next week. Me and Tom did discover probably Saturday. It's probably gonna be Saturday again. I ain't gonna lie. And if Tom can do it, and stuff like that, so we can keep rolling because there's plenty of other issues. Like we got 33, and then the Green Goblin comes. And I keep hearing this was pretty good. So I want to catch up to the Green Goblin. Yeah. So yeah, so they're up to issue. This is 35. You know what I mean? 36.
36.
Which is pretty cool cover. And then of course one of our homeboys come back. The prelude before the gang war. Rick Rat.
Oh yeah.
So we want to definitely catch up to that one. So those are the issues that are coming out. If we could consistently do our shows, we might be able to get it before the end of the new year. It'll be the end of not the end of the new year. Can you imagine? Till next year, the end of this year. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Anybody watching it on the rewind, thank you very much. Anybody who's in the chat, thank you so much for being out here. We appreciate it. It's a long show. We knew it because this issue was pretty. Like I said, this issue was like 4 issues in one. It being a $9.99 book, so you're pretty much getting 4 issues for the price of 2.5. So
I think I give it a 3.63, which I think with 3.0 would be what? What do you think, Herm?
I think I got the 3.69, dude. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here for 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? We'll be back in the normally scheduled 2 issues, normal issues for now, until issue 950 comes out, because this is 925, and it's probably 9.99. We'll probably be here forever again. But Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for everything. Like I said, watching on the rewind. If you like the thumbs up, hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Ding, that bell for another kids for future video. I messed that whole thing up. It's time to go. Our links are down below for the Peace Army Bad Batch for all our friends. Even Tom, when he does videos, it's down there. I love you guys. Thanks for joining. Till next time. Happy holidays. Station. Peace out.
Yeah!